Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wellness with Dipal. I am your host, Dipal Shah. It is so wonderful to connect with each and every one of you. Today, I have an amazing guest, Grethel Burgos, and she is going to talk to us about how we can connect to our guides. I love this topic because when I was first learning energy healing, that was one thing that was so intriguing to me. First of all, that we have guides. I had no idea. I come from a Hindu background and I had no idea that there was such thing as angels. We believe that, there's God and that's it. There's gods and goddesses. And when I started to connect with angels and archangels, it was so new to me. And I had to let go of my beliefs. And I feel like sometimes our beliefs come in the way of connecting with our guides. And Grethel's going to talk to us more about that today. So I'm very excited to have her here. Her name is Grethel Burgos, and she is a light language artist. And she has an amazing online community where you can connect, grow, meditate, heal, and learn about light language. I have connected with Grethel before, and we have had her on the global gathering. If you have ever been to one of our global gatherings, she is amazing. And hopefully, she'll give us a little bit of a sample today as to how she connects with her guides and how we can connect with ours. We're going to discover so much and really just tune into that frequency and energy. Grethel is a spiritual coach, and she creates drawings from guides, angels, ascended masters, and beings from the stars. Each drawing represents a reflection of the soul through the light language healing that comes from your soul, which is also a part of source energy. Universal light language of love, that is the language of God, she believes and says. There is no need to understand the words. It is a great opportunity to tune into the energy of love. Doesn't that just sound amazing? Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and invite Grethel here today with us and welcome her. Hello, Grethel. So wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much, Dipal, for having me in your space. I am welcome.
Oh,
Thank you.
well, Grethel, I always ask all of my guests because I always find this very intriguing. I want to know your story and your journey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Of course. I woke up being a very different kid. I had a lot of imagination, and I remember that I invented my own languages. And I was always dreaming with dragons and fairies, and I had my own imaginary friends. But somehow I noticed that no one else had the same authenticity that I had. And I shut down that channel when I was conscious about it. And then for me in 2012, it was a stage when everything was going wrong. I was very heavy depression. Marriage was going wrong. I didn't like my job. I was really in pain in all aspects. But I remember that I went to a retreat that it was just to deal with my depression. It was not something that it was psychic or from angels. It was just psychological, I believe. And during that retreat, I started seeing angels out of the blue because we were fasting for 48 days. We
Wow.
just had tea, coffee, and water, all you wanted, but it was just liquid. And I think that detoxed my body, and then it opened for me the channel. And then I started seeing angels, kind of like the sky and the clouds form wings. And I was just like, can you see that? And no one else was seeing that. Maybe I was hallucinating because I was not eating I'm not sure. But then it was a moment that I was asking questions, and then I remember that the weather answered to me. Let me explain that a little bit more. It started raining like breeze for like 30 seconds and then stopped. And then I was like, what's happening? At that point in my life, people, I did not believe in God anymore or do any spiritual practice at all. I was just a normal person. And then in some moments, it was a very strong wind or just like a butterfly going all over me because we were in the outdoors doing that retreat.
Mm.
And that woke up my curiosity. But at the end of my retreat, we did like a little meditation outdoors. It was nothing spiritual, just breathing and connecting with your own self. And when I close my eyes, I clearly see like 30 faces looking at me, smiling. And then I was sort of journeying into the heavens for a few minutes. I was out of my body. I think it was an out of body experience. And I could see the shiny eyes, the smiles. And at that moment, even though I did not know who the angels were or God was, even though I was raised as a Catholic, I just disregard all that. The energy was that beautiful and peaceful and just what I needed, that made me feel safe to interact with them. It was just, I think, like 5 or 7 minutes. And then I remember that I suddenly went blank. I had no questions because the energy was answering to me by itself. So I suddenly had this knowing that it was very clear. I had no self-doubt that it was actually happening. I think it was kind of like an intervention for heaven because I was not doing anything with my life. Everything was wrong. And after that, I just knew that in the center, it was Archangel Michael and then lots of angels. Sometimes I could see like half of the face, or just the smiles, or just the eyes, or kind of like wings or like feathers. And then at the end, it would happen me a big curiosity. And then I asked Google, friends, and then after that, I started meditation. And then I kept seeing the angels. And it was how my journey started. Not to make the story that long, after that, my life completely changed. I was being guided actually by spirit. And I'm glad I allowed myself to trust and to be open because the journey has been very amazing in all aspects. It has been a really, really big growth.
Yeah. Well, you're
Yeah, so
definitely
if
glowing.
any of you, yes, thank you, thank you. So if anyone that is listening right now is experiencing some struggles or challenges or depression, because it's something very common, especially in females sometimes, there is help out there. Therapists, psychologists, books, things that we can do to self-assist. Depression, it's hard to deal with it, but it's not impossible because I did that. And for me, the energy angels was what I needed to be open to that greater power that was always available for me, but I never accessed that.
Yeah. And sometimes we become powerless, and I
Yes.
feel like we give our power away to the darkness that comes through. And it's nice to know that you can get that back. You can get your power back and be back in your body and have something, create something bigger and better for you, even though you feel like you're in a dark space and you're stuck and you're never going to get out, right? So that's an amazing story, Grethel. And I was just writing some notes as you were speaking, because you mentioned something about intervention, and it's amazing how we see it as right when we're at the bottom, that you feel like you're at this bottomless pit, and you feel this divine intervention, something comes through and pulls you out, right? but you have to take that step. Like you went to the retreat. You didn't have to go to the retreat. You could have just stayed home, right? And just sit there in your sorrows and not take a physical action. What made you take that step to go to this retreat? Like, what was it? Because I feel that in itself was a divine intervention.
Yes, actually, I did not want to go.
Yeah.
But at that point in my life, I was crying every day for no reason. And I remember that my family signed me up. And I was like, okay, I will just go. But after that, everything changed. It was like the mile marker that let me know that I could do something different, that I could choose to be happy, that I could choose to live my life in the best way that I know. And it was challenging a bit because I was not used to tuning to myself, claiming that power, and doing something and taking responsibility for how I wanted to be in what I wanted to become. And I think, especially with all the things going on in the world, and probably in our own inner lives, it's very important for us to tune into and find that peace
Yeah.
and tune into that greater power that it could be called angels, ascended masters, elementals, that they're all guiding us. I think it is part of our own soul, like a family of light that feels like love or peace, or just this voice through your intuition that said, hey, you should do that. You should call that person. You should ask for help. And that voice is always uplifting, it's always guiding you. And sometimes we just second guess, like, I don't think so. But that I don't think so, I think comes from our mind.
Yeah.
But the other voice encoded within all of us, it is the voice of our soul, our spirit, that higher guidance that give us clues so we choose a greater path. I think less rocky. At least for me, I'm proof of it.
Right. So guides don't have to look a certain way. Like what like if you were to give our listeners and viewers some guidance on how to connect with their guides, what's the first step that they should take?
Firstly, I think we have to trust. We have to trust that we can listen. And then we have to learn to discern what we listened. So between all the voices that we have from our memory, from our past, from our own personality, the shadow aspects that become part of us, where is the voice that is the voice of that higher guidance? I think guides are part of our own energetic aura. There are outside of us, but like complement us. They are not physical, they're on the spiritual realm. There are many different ways that you can connect to your guides. But first of all, you have to be open and you have to allow the connection to be. And then we have to learn to discern. And discerning, I think, is very important because it's the capacity that we all have to find neutrality with whatever that it is. Sometimes people will say to me things in sessions like, my guys fight all the time. No, guys don't fight. We fight. We fight between our own inner voices because guides are part of the spirit.
Right.
They are in conditional love and divinity. They're just a complementary energy that will support our journey. I think we have many guides, some come and go. The easiest way, I think, after being open and trusting that it is happening, that we always have someone, and practice discernment. Discernment has to be a practice that we allow ourselves and we're willing to do. I think we have to set the intention, like when you activate Siri or Alexa or do GPS in your car. I do activate, hey guys, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's happening. When I feel disconnected, I claim that source that I have to come into me. And then I have to breathe, close my eyes, tune into, and then, okay, where I am, where I'm going. And then when I found that center within, that spark, it is when guidance comes.
Yeah.
Probably meditation.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be in a certain space. You could be anywhere and ask for guides, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So and then sorry that I interrupt you. And then when you are used to listening to that voice actually came like Siri in your phone or Alexa or like your GPS, and then you develop a stronger intuition that guide you like one step ahead about how things are going, and then you are more aware and then in the better place that when we don't listen to our intuition.
Yeah. It's true. And, again, I'm just writing notes because I love everything you're saying. So you mentioned guides, right? So can you just have one guide or you could have multiple guides?
Yes. I don't think we just have one guy. I think just have multiple guys. In sessions, I do Akash records, readings, and I do another session when I reconnect with their guys. Normally, people will have like 3 or 4 that are always with them.
Okay.
The one that is always with you that I have learned to the Akashic records, it is your guardian angel. Guardian angel, it is with you throughout all your incarnations. It is a sign, signs you split from source. Normally, guardian angels doesn't have gender or anything, but they are going to have a predominant energy that it could be female or male. Maybe they give you a name like Grace, Keys, or Michael, or whatever that you align with. And angels are going to look and guides in the way that we feel safe to connect with them, because in reality, they are light. Also, we do have soulmates and soul family. Like, for example, when sometimes your mom passed, is going to stay for a while with one of the kids or all of them. Sometimes grandfather, sometimes the grandfather and grandmother, or lover from another timeline, like sometimes the Egyptian husband that he's not alive but choose to be part of your team. Sometimes people have their twin flame as a guide. And then normally, depending on a journey, some people are going to have collectives, really groups, like for example, the Reiki practitioners, coach guys, they have collectives. Sometimes many collectives that come and go, sometimes just one. It depends. Some people have galactic guys for the stars, ascended masters. What I have learned or discovered in the Akashic records, it is that if, let's say that Joshua is with you as your guide, it is because most likely it is part of your oversoul. It's not specifically with you because they are omnipresent and omniscient. They can be with many people at the same time, but it is because it's like a complementary guide that comes to support you for something that you're learning. So, for example, you and I, maybe we both have Archangel Michael or Krishna or any guide, because they multiply in the multidimensional level.
Right. Now, can you tell people what their guides, who their guides are? If they ask you, are you able to tune into that energy?
Yes, you can do that with a psychic. Any person can do that. Sometimes guides, they are not going to want to reveal a lot of themselves because sometimes we have our ego in the way. But normally, even though they don't have name, they have frequency, they're going to give you a name because it's easy for us to connect in an image.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say, my guides change. Yes. Guides change not because they quit. No, it's the same guide that transform into a higher expression when we ascend. I have seen that too. Like, for example, your higher self, maybe it looked like an angel, maybe it looked like a shaman before, and now looks more ascended. Right. It depends on where we are in our journey and how open we are. But guides, it is like you have to connect with them. Please be right here. Show me your support. If I bypass the guidance, say it again and again until I understand, because it is their job. They are always giving us protection, even though sometimes we don't ask for it.
Yes.
I have seen that they sometimes grab arms all around us, or call for support. Like, for example, some people will have dragon guardians or angel guardians. I remember once I was in a dream and I noticed that I had like 6 men in black, like all equal and the same, kind of like the ones from the Matrix, like the bad ones. But I was like, who are they? Right. So
Right.
I asked a psychic friend and he said, oh, they are angels. And I was like, angels? And
Wow.
then my friend said, yes, because you were traveling into a place that required protection. You were assigned to just like generic angels for protection. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So angels can look in any form. For me, sometimes they look like military or police officers. Sometimes they look like in a very traditional God alike.
Okay.
Sometimes they're going to look in light and then the light physically appears as wings, but they are going to show up in the way that we are open to, maybe in the image of the photo we have in our wallet,
Mhm.
in whatever way we recognize them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wow. So they could show up in any way. There could be multiple guides. Um, do you feel why is it that some people are not able to connect with their guides? Is there anything specific that is keeping them besides not being open? Is there some kind of resistance or um, maybe a past lifetime experience that has brought in some kind of fear?
Yes, I think all of the above, but at the same time, I think it's trust. And for some people, they are not meant to be awake in spirituality, like probably they are politician or working court or something. So it's not part of their journey. They're going to have their guides and they're going to come to inspiration or creativity, but not in a way that they are aware of that force of inspiration. But I do think a musician is going to channel God through the music, or a singer, or an artist, or probably a gardener,
Yeah.
probably a doctor. So we all have that connection within, even though we are not awake or conscious. But sometimes that voice that gives you something like, maybe I am a doctor and say, what if we should do this and try this new? That what if comes from spirit, but that spirit is going to come in whatever way serve us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I, I feel like, when I started connecting with guides and the more I did, because I started my spiritual journey, I wasn't always on it. Like a lot of people, we don't realize and we don't awaken to that self-realization spiritual journey till a little later in our lives. And so for me, connecting to the guides was something that was just so different, but I did feel safe in doing that because I knew it was a higher power. It was a power of love, not judgmental, right? Because sometimes we're like, oh, well, they're going to judge us or, they're not going to want to help us. I don't feel like I deserve, because a lot of clients that I work with, they feel like they don't deserve to see their guides or they don't deserve their guides' help. And it's because of our childhood experiences sometimes that make us feel that we're not deserving of certain things, right? I mean, what do you feel about that?
Yes, actually feeling like I don't deserve or I'm not capable or I can trust that I can do it. It's something very common. But this is something that probably happened to us when we're awakening, something that we're not used to, but you have to exercise it like you exercise a muscle going to the gym. Not the fact because I purchase a membership, I'm going to get fit. I just have to go every day. And with guides, it happens the same. But it's part of your own intuition. And then when you connect very deeply with them, they sort of intertwine with your own personality. And then sometimes you're going to notice that, oh my God, I just sounded so wise. I don't know why I know, but I think you should do this and that. And then things go more easier than we don't have that guidance very sharp or very efficient, it is easier. And I'm going to say that we don't have challenges, because we do, but you feel more resilient, more wise, more strong whenever a challenge arises. And then you develop that awareness and the capacity to say, I don't think so, because you have a wider perspective. And that comes when those guides are working with you in a more efficient way. Another thing that I wanted to mention, when you talk about that sometimes we feel like that an offer we don't deserve. I remember that I was sad one day and I went into my meditation and then I fell asleep, because I dream a lot and my guidance comes to dreams a lot. And then I remember that the angel said, I was not seeing any angel. I just knew I was speaking with some angel in my dream. I just remember that they say something like, for one person in the world that is crying, there's going to be at least one guide next to her side trying to send love, or waiting. Just if any of you said, hey, can you please come in? They're always waiting. And I don't know if that happens with you, but in sessions, sometimes I see guys that they're like, yes, 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 we want to connect. Tell her this, tell her that, like cushions, like cheerleaders. Actually is how they are. They're always like pushing us and guiding us. And then I think how you can discern if it's a good guide, or maybe it's a guide that is not your guide, but it coming from another part. It is because I think a guide is not going to tell you what to do, or push you, or force you, or anything. And that comes through discernment.
Yeah.
I remember one person that says, that says, oh, healer is my guide. And I was like, oh, right? So discernment, again, is very important part. The part where it is like when you turn Netflix on and then you said, okay, I want to see comedy, I want to see terror, I want to see documentaries. With the energy, I think we set boundaries too. Like, okay, I have to sleep now. I'm going to close the channel. Or with guys, because I channel, I said, no one can talk to me unless I have a name, a reason why, and how I can get rid of you if I don't like your energy.
Right.
So every time that I have a guide, they always introduce themselves and wait for me to be open.
Oh, very nice.
I think it's part of, it's part of setting boundaries and then choosing which guides or energies or frequencies you would like to connect, even though everything it is in divine plan, one way or another.
Yeah, I completely agree. There was something that had come to my mind as we're talking about connecting with our guides. When my daughter was very young, she must have been 4 or 5 years old, and she was very connected to her guides, and she was connecting to more and more, and she was very clairvoyant, clairaudient. I mean, she had all the clairs going. And she had said to me one time, because I was talking to her about angels, and she said, oh, Mom, is seeing your angels and talking to them like FaceTiming with your angels? And I'm like, yeah, it's like FaceTime. It was the cutest thing. I'm like, okay. So, it's amazing what we could even teach our kids about guides and angels, because they end up disconnecting after a certain age, 6, 7 years old, because you go to school. Who's talking about guides and angels, right?
Yeah.
This feels very abnormal, but it's time for us to reconnect, because we're getting lost in this world, on this earthly plane, and we need to come back into realignment of who we are and open up that intuition. And so this talk today, with Grethel, is so important. And Grethel, is there anything else that you wanted to share with us about guides today?
I think if you want to, I would like to do a few minutes guides activation, so we can all tune into our guides, the ones that we haven't had the opportunity.
Yes, that would be
I
wonderful.
normally do. Good. So we can close with that if you want.
Yeah, that would be beautiful.
Okay. let's just tune into our hearts and visualize that we have a spark of light. The spark of light will represent spirit, creator of all that it is. We do have our soul by our side, in the left, spirit in our right. And just imagine that you can tune into yourself and sense just your aura. I'm going to do light language, that is a multidimensional expression of the light, just to assist the connection. Me te kiara ko soma aki ishta ti iki ina. And that light language is going to enter through your crown, opening the channel. Nete ki ikiara korsore ishka. Opening your third eye for you to see the light, to know the light. Opening your ear centers for you to listen to the light. Nete kiara ase ala iki ishna. Nete ki ira koro ose iki ishka. And know that every sound, every idea, every movement, it is the expression of the light, creator of all that it is. And now tune into the energy of your neck, your shoulders, your upper back, just sensing the light in you. Letting the energy to be felt in your upper arms, your hands, your fingertips, in your heart, in your lungs. As you breathe, in our hearts, we have our GPS. You can imagine that you have a button that says on and off. Visualize that you turn it on. And through your sound, try to see if you can hear your heartbeat. You can create a sensation that you are connected with yourself. And now sense the energy that goes all the way down in your belly, digesting the light, feeling the support in your back, your lower back, your hips, your pelvis. This language is just the voice of the light itself. And tune into the sensations on your legs, your knees, your lower legs, your feet, toes, grounding the connection with spirit, all the way down to the center of Mara Gaia. Visualize actually your spark going down through layers of earth, meeting Gaia, and then going all the way up, up, up. And now when you feel your spark entering your feet and all the way up to your legs, to your spine, let it sink in your heart. And now let's ask you guys to tune into your energy so they can step in your field. Notice the changes in your aura. You may feel tingling sensation, expansion. We'll have a different way to feel you guys. I feel warm in my back. Maybe you see images. Maybe just a feeling of love and peace. Maybe just a deep relaxation. I'm going to do my language to support your journey. Niki ate kara omai seki eskata koro oku ikiana. Niki eskata koro oku oiki ikiana. I'm going to let you guys speak now. Greetings, beloved. We are honored to be here with you. We're grateful for the opportunity of connection. Please let us hug you and speak whispers of love into your ear, greeting you, our beloved human. You may feel the hug. Try to tune into, create it in your mind. Guys are happy. They rejoice in the connection. We finally listen to them. So now I want you to imagine you can see a table. You are sitting in the table, create it in your mind. Just imagine you are sitting at a table. And imagine that you can look around. How many guides do you see? Imagine you can see them. Imagine if you can see their faces, maybe the race, maybe you even have names. Maybe you have seen some known faces from your ancestors. Maybe the ones that you like to meditate often, the angels, ascended masters. And now I'm going to ask, so you have clear images about who is with you, guiding you. Now I'm going to ask, Creator of all that it is, to download the capacity for us to know that we are connected all the time. So we can teach ourselves to see, to sense higher power through the guidance of our own soul. And if it's meant to be and serve us well, we can activate the connection with our spirit guides in a deeper way, better every day, and better each day, in all ways, and for the highest good of all. Now, I'm going to close with a minute of light language, and you guys are going to give you gifts. Each of you will receive a different gift. Just be open and trust. Nete kiara koroma eshkate isakoi nigiate karakoa. Iki ishkate kiara kosoma iki ishkati iki ina. Iki te kiara koroma ke isakore ki ashkata karaki kuki nete akala. Iki lava iki ata korosoro kutikireshkite koromate ki isekoi ki te kana. Iki ishkate koroma iki te kiala. La tiki esakoi te ishka te karakoma ki tiki ishka. Ni te kiara koro ose ki ishka ti iki ina. The activation is complete. Now I would like to count from 1 to 3. And at the end, you will be able to open your eyes. Refresh, re-energize, but relax. With a strong connection with your guides and God itself, greater and better than before. Just take a deep breath and ground if that is necessary. 1, 2, 3. Open your eyes whenever you are ready. Thank you so much for having me in your space.
That is wonderful. Oh, you guys might need a nap. I think I need a nap. Definitely water. But that was beautiful because when I was around the table and you said, how many guides are there? I saw 7. And to me, they just look like stick figures with white, the colors of white. And so I didn't get a chance to ask them their names, but I think this is a great opportunity to take this and, you know, go back to the beginning and replay this beautiful healing and source energy and frequencies that came through from Grethel, because you can find out what the names of your guides are. Just if you get out of your logical mind, because what I was doing, and I'll find myself doing that, is I'm like, I'll go into the logical mind and create names.
Yes,
You know,
that
and
can help.
yeah, but I'm like, no, wait. No, I'm gonna have to get back to this. So I am definitely gonna be doing, this again, and going back to the recording. But it is so wonderful to have you here, Grethel, and thank you so much for providing us this beautiful space and connecting us to our guides. Because as we evolve, I think we need that closer connection to a higher power, and we've just lost that along the way, along the stress, and all the challenges and obstacles that happen in our lives. So with that, where can people connect with you at this time? What is the best way?
Yes, I do have an online community. It's called Encoder Frequency, and you guys can log into Facebook. The ones that are not in Facebook, my website is encoderfrequency.com, or YouTube. It's a growing community too. The ones that are on Facebook, I do have a healing circle where I do free energy every day, 5:55 a.m. and p.m. Pacific time. You guys can meet me there, or just contact me on my website if you have any question about whatever we did today. If you would like any more further explanation, I do have a lot of free stuff that you guys can benefit from if you resonate with what I do.
Perfect. And it's called encodedfrequency.com. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So guys, go to encodedfrequency.com and see what Grethel has to offer to you and in your journey. And so thank you so much to everyone for being here. And those of you who would like to connect with Grethel, you can do that on her website. Just go to encodedfrequency.com. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I am Dipal Shah, and connect with me again next week as we bring on our next guest. Thank you.
Thank you.